Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is a coastal overnighter inside of a teepee style tent. So I've got the tent pitched right now. I do have it set with some very large boulders as pegs can't go into this kind of rocky shoreline. So all these guy lines are all guyed out. All the tensioners and the stakeout points are all secured with heavy rocks. I also have the mesh inner for inside of the tent because there are some creepy crawlies and some bugs kind of around the shoreline. So I got all my gear inside of there, and now it is time to start collecting some firewood because I would like to have a campfire somewheres around the tent, maybe down here near that little waterfall or maybe just out front. I have no clue how high the tide is going to come up. It is looking like the tide is actually on its way in right now, so we're going to find out how high it's going to come. My guess is it's going to stop right where the camera is, giving me about 10 foot of rocky coastline to the water's edge. But we will find out. So let's get some firewood. Okay guys, I've got a little bit of firewood prepped up over here off to the side. I batoned a few pieces down, and the only reason why I actually cut and split some wood is because I need some small pieces to get the fire going. It has been raining all morning and all yesterday, so a lot of the stuff out here, even on the coast, is still a little damp. So I do have some small pieces here that are really dry that are definitely going to help light the fire very quickly. So everything else, I've got some long pieces behind me, and then I've got the whole beach full of driftwood, so I'm not worried about firewood tonight. I do need to build a fire pit right in front of me though. I anticipate the water coming up. I should have about 8 to 10 feet of tidal before the water comes up and touches the fire. So I think I'm going to build a fire pit right here out of rock, and then once I'm done that, I'll get the fire lay, get the fire lit, and then get some water out of that waterfall just behind the camera, make up a hot drink, and possibly even start on supper. Okay guys, I've got the fire ring all built, and the reason why I'm doing a fire ring, I should probably explain. It's not to actually stop the fire from spreading all over the place, because we're at the shore and the chances of causing a fire with rocks is just not going to happen. So the reason why I made a fire ring is actually for the wind later on this evening, because the wind does come in off the ocean, and it's nice to kind of have some of a wind block. Nothing major, but just something to stop the wind from blowing the coals and burning the fire too fast. That's the reason why I went with the fire ring. So I do still have to get my sleeping gear put inside of the mesh inner. That is one thing that I have not done yet. And I've got my fire steel and all my cooking kit still inside of my backpack as well. So I'm just going to take a couple minutes, get my sleeping kit inside of the tent, get all the rest of my cooking gear out of the pack as well, and then I'll be ready to light the fire. So for today's sleeping kit, I brought my North Face Blue Kazoo down bag. It's not going to be terribly cold tonight. They're forecasting 5 degrees Celsius. We are on the ocean. There is a breeze coming through, so that'll be more than warm enough. And then I brought my Unigear sleeping pad, so this should be more than sufficient for the cold rock ground. This should be enough comfort and warmth to get through the evening. So I'm going to take a few moments, get that stuff inside of the mesh inner, inflate the sleeping pad, get all my cooking gear and everything in my backpack. And I'm just going to take the whole bag right over to the fire pit and then start on supper. Alright guys, I've got the fire lay set, and I've kind of done something a little neat and a little fun this time. I decided to do kind of the cabin style for a fire lay. So they're all stacked up like a log cabin, and hopefully that'll go up no problem. I want to mix things up a little bit, you know? So I've got this set, I've got all the rest of the wood back here that's going to be ready to go for burn. Now we do need to find some birch bark. I'm just going to walk up and down this bed of straw and driftwood and pick up a few pieces because I know that there are some in there. I've seen them earlier on. So I'm going to gather some of that up, bring it back up here on the log, get it processed, and then light the fire. Okay guys, so just walking up the beach, just in this little bit of a maybe a 50-foot stretch. I did find quite a few pieces of birch bark actually. Quite happy with my find. Some of it's really old, some of it's kind of damp, but I do believe this large piece that I found is enough dryness to fluff up with my knife. So I do have quite a few pieces right there. I have my fire steel in my backpack. Just gonna grab this out of here real quick. And we'll process this birch bark down and we'll get this fire going. So I've got my fire steel, brought my large fire steel today, and let's get this processed down. Before I do start actually scraping the birch bark, what I like to do is I like to peel it in strips. So this piece is quite hard and a little bit damp. Just gonna peel this down into small strips and drop it into the top of the fire, or the fire lay, so the little log cabin area. I'm just going to drop that in to the top, and basically what I'm going to do is kind of create a chimney fire effect. Once I get my good stuff burning in the bottom, I want it to shoot up the top, kind of like a rocket stove. So I like taking all this stuff and just ripping it into strips, get all this ready and inside of this fire lay. That'll make this process a lot easier. And some of this is pretty tough and damp, so hopefully it takes off without too much issues. Alright guys, I've got some water in the kettle and I'm about to make up a hot drink, but I just want to mention I did bring a gas canister stove, and this is going to be for cooking supper. Now the reason why I brought a gas canister stove when I'm having a fire is because the forecast for today was actually supposed to be rain. So I'm actually in pretty good luck right now with no rain, able to have a fire, because I originally anticipated in being stuck inside of the tent with the canister stove and the door open. So I am going to use that for cooking dinner, because I'm actually going to be doing it on my titanium plate, which I believe is still in my backpack. But right now I am going to take some water out of my kettle, put it in my 750 pot, and make up a quick hot drink. I just got to get everything out of the cups because I've stored all of my food inside of all of my containers. So every container that actually has room inside of it is full. So right here I've got my breakfast, a couple items for supper. I'm just going to dump them into the little mesh bags. That way I have an empty cup and an empty pot, and then I'm going to pour some water in my pot, put my pot over the fire. That way I'm not burning all my gas out of my canister stove. So we are going to be cooking over the fire a little bit just with the water, but as far as the food goes, that'll be away from the fire on a canister stove. So let's get some water in here for a hot drink. Okay, so I've decided to come up on top of this cliff area to have a better view at the ocean. Up here you can really see how the tide's coming in. So I should mention, this is the Bay of Fundy, Nova Scotia, home of the highest tides in the world. We're talking very, very, very high tides. giant tides. And we're actually not towards the mouth of the basin, we're way up towards the little funnel part of the basin. So this is the highest part of the world, if you kind of get what I'm saying. So these tides come up very, very far. And some old viewers, or regular viewers I should say, probably recognize this location. I slept right here in a hot tent just a few months ago during wintertime. Woke up with a little bit of snowfall. I had a hot tent with a wood stove, beautiful view, and I wanted so badly to camp down on the shore. But the winter tides, the waves are gigantic. There's no way you could sleep down there in the wintertime. So I ended up camping up top, and I did have low tide, so I got to go down and walk around a bit. And morning was beautiful. Big old snowflakes coming down was awesome. So this time I actually get to camp down on the beach, and fingers crossed that tide does not come up to my tent, hopefully. So it is coming in quite quickly, and I think we're gonna have a pretty awesome evening out here. I've got an interesting dinner I wanna do tonight, so I brought sausage, peppers, onions, corn, whole bunch of stuff. I'm gonna bang it in my frying pan, cook it up over the canister stove, and have a really, really nice dinner down there on the beach. So right now I'm just gonna kick back, enjoy my hot drink for a little bit, and enjoy this view. Okay guys, it's just about time to start cooking supper. I've got the fire going pretty good. I can actually feel a little bit of the heat. There is quite a cool breeze coming off the ocean, so believe it or not, that fire is actually going to be very useful for heat into the evening. So I just made myself a nice little table. I've got my cutting board up here, all my cooking stuff, my food. I just want to run through what I have. So I've got a bag of corn. I've got 3 peppers, 1 yellow, orange, and red, 2 big cloves of garlic, and then I've got some green onion, some mushroom, and two sausages that I brought with me, and these are cheddar cheese sausages. And then I've got my spice kit. So what I'm going to do, basically get all of this together in the frying pan, put it on my canister stove, and cook it up that way because it's easier to control the heat. Not only that, like I mentioned earlier, I brought this because of the rain. I did think it was going to rain, and it may still rain tonight or tomorrow morning. So I'm going to do all of this right here on this table. It's a little bit easier to work with. And then I'll have this area later on tonight to sit back and relax. Alright guys, I'm all finished up with supper and it was awesome. Definitely really good. Sitting down there on the gravel as the tide coming in. Nobody out here. Nice cool breeze rolling through. Beautiful setting. So the fire is putting out some serious heat right now. I can feel it on my leg, kind of burning it actually. And I think it's going to be really enjoyable sitting right here. I may even use this rock behind me as a backrest a little later on. So I think that'll come in handy. So I've already got all my dishes cleaned up. I did boil up a kettle off camera, so I've got all kinds of water in here, plus my drink right now. I am going to boil up a little bit more so I have it for in the morning and throughout the night if I need a drink. And I'm going to clean up this whole area just in a few moments. I'm just sitting down right now watching the tide because I'm not sure how high it's actually going to come up. So I don't want to go wandering around and turn my back to it and it come up too far and me not be able to kind of move my tent if I really have to. So I'm going to hang out here and watch the tide really closely, enjoy my drink before I move on and continue doing other things, because that tide is something you don't want to mess with. So hangout time and enjoy this drink for a little bit. Alright, so I'm on the lookout for sea glass right now. I have a little challenge for myself every time I go to the shore, whether I'm by myself or with somebody, is always try and find 5 pieces of sea glass. And I've already found 5, so I've got a pocket full of sea glass right now. And I'm just walking along this little sandbar, or gravel bar I should say. It doesn't really pick up on camera, but this elevates probably from right where I am, right where my hand is to the camera. There's about a 3-foot difference, so this is quite a steep grade, and this is where the tide slams in and then comes back down. So this is actually a good sign that I'm finding sea glass on this area. It's actually a good sign that the tide is not going to come up any farther, because generally when the tide comes back up in the sea glass, it washes it back down. And I've been watching rocks down behind the camera, big boulders, and it looks like the water has stopped at those boulders, so all of this beach is going to stay for the rest of the evening, I think. So I'm going to continue on down the beach. I'm probably about 200 feet away from the tent right now, so I'm going to walk down quite a ways now that I'm a little more comfortable knowing the tide's not going to move anymore. And out on a hunt for some sea glass, so this is pretty cool. I've already found some good pieces of blue and green, and the green ones, they just pop because this gravel is still quite wet, and when you get the green sea glass and it's a little bit wet, it just pops like a big ruby sitting on top on the gravel. So I'm going to walk down here for a little ways and see if I can find some more sea glass. I'll show you guys what I find when I make it back to the tent. Okay guys, back from my walk, and just behind me the sun is starting to set, so it looks like we might actually get a little bit of color in the sky. Now I found a lot of sea glass, including a very big piece, so I'm just going to lay it all out here on this piece of wood. Quite a bit of blue and quite a bit of green, I will say. Try not to drop any right now. So looking for sea glass is something that we always do when we come to the shore, me and my kids. And it's probably one of the most relaxing things to do, honestly. Not thinking of anything, just kind of listening to the water and just looking for sea glass. So got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 pieces of sea glass. Pretty awesome haul. Okay, so with the tide going back out, there is a waterfall way off in the distance, way around that corner. If you guys look really close, you might be able to pick it out. And that waterfall generally is not that violent. Usually it's just a trickle of like a little tiny waterfall. Right now it looks like it's raging. The sun is going down, it will be dark shortly. That's probably only about a 1 kilometer walk, so I think I'm gonna make the walk and head down there just before dark. I'm gonna go grab my flashlight just in case, and then head down to that waterfall and then come back to camp before dark. Okay, so I've got my flashlight. I've closed the tent just in case anyone does come by. I don't want them kind of nosing in here. And this is a shore, it's a beach. Nova Scotia shores get used by a lot of people. So if someone's happening to walk by, if they think I'm in there, hopefully they won't mess with my stuff. So flashlight, dying light, let's go. Guys, well, I made it. These rocks are really slippery. So that's a pretty cool find. The sun is still setting. Beautiful pink and purple out there. That was not too bad of a walk, but I still have to make it back. So I'm going to grab a couple photos here at the waterfall, and then I'm going to make my way back. Alright guys, I'm back from my walk down at that waterfall, and I gotta say that was definitely worth heading down there, especially at nighttime. The sunset out there was incredible. Once the sun came below the clouds, big old bright pink sun, so that was pretty awesome. On the way back though, I had to use my flashlight, and I'm glad I brought it because as you can see, it's dark and I just got back a moment ago. And using my flashlight on the rock, and it's super dark out, super slick and wet rocks because the tide just went out. Still going out, and I found a piece of sea glass. Now the crazy part is it's not bright green, it's not bright blue, it's actually crystal clear. How I found a piece of clear sea glass with my flashlight on, just walking in a hurry back to camp. I looked down and bing, there it was, clear sea glass. Don't know how I spotted it, but I bent down, picked it up, add that to the pile. So definitely worth the walk down there to see that waterfall. It was definitely, it was worth it. It was worth it for sure. So it is getting dark out, continuing to get dark, I should say. And I've got the fire stoked up. I'm going to be chilling out here for a little bit, I think. I'm just going to keep the wood on the fire, and I'll probably cook up some Mr. Noodles maybe, have another hot drink, and then I'll probably make my way inside of the tent and might watch a movie, might go to bed. I have to be up very early tomorrow morning, so who knows what the night will bring, but so far, this is going to be me for a couple hours right here in front of this campfire. Good morning, guys. It is a beautiful, crisp and cool morning out here, just feet away from the crashing waves. Waterfall in the background, crackling campfire. Awesome scenery. I really do love camping on the shore, especially on these cloudy days. Absolutely awesome. So last night's sleep was really enjoyable. I had the crashing sound of the waves, the water in the background. I went right to sleep. I fell asleep really good, woke up. I could hear the birds flying over, I could hear the waves, everything just awesome. So we did have a little band of orange and yellow way out in the distance for the sunrise. And it's gone now because it is a cloudy day. So I think it's going to be a little bit rainy possibly. So I'm not going to be hanging out here for too much longer. I'm going to finish my drink and my breakfast and let this fire do its thing while I pack up. But essentially what I'm going to be doing this morning is eat, drink, and pack up, because I do have to be on my way very early this morning. So for breakfast, I've got one pack of oatmeal, which is definitely going to be nice. Just one quick pack of oatmeal. I've got a cappuccino, and then I'm going to clean everything up, pack it up, and if this is not out by then, obviously put this out. And then it's going to be hit the trail time. So let's dig into this oatmeal. Oh yeah. Okay guys, I've got the fire snuffed out. I've got everything now inside of the backpack. As you can see how squishy it is with all that down insulation. And I also do have my little camera bag on the side, which I carry over my shoulder when I'm walking. So I've got everything packed up. There is one thing that I will mention. On the bottom of my backpack, I do have a canvas bedroll. I don't believe I touched on this yesterday, so I just want to mention right now, if you're gonna go camping on a rocky shoreline, such as this, or any terrain that has sharp objects, have something durable to go not only underneath of your sleeping pad, but underneath of your tent. And a tent footprint material will not work on this stuff. This will chew it up really quickly. So I put down my canvas right on top of the rock, and then I put my mesh inner on top of that, and then my sleeping pad. And even then I was very, very gentle not to kind of push elbows into the floor, because this rock will chew up tent material. I had no damage to anything using that wax canvas. So it's a little bulky, it weighs about 1.5 pounds, but it's definitely worth its weight to carry and protecting gear. Plus, when I'm not inside of the tent, I could have brought it outside, sat on it. I chose not to. I just left it underneath, protecting the tent and the pad. So like I said, everything is packed up. I'm getting ready to go. One more thing I do want to mention, Monday nights I go live on YouTube. So if you haven't checked out the live chats on Monday night, please tune in if you're interested in that. We go live for about 1.5 hours, 2 hours every Monday evening, 8 p.m. Atlantic time. So if you want to check that out, I'll definitely be there. So I hope you guys enjoyed the trip. I thank you very much for tuning in, and drop your comments and questions down in the comment section, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out, guys.